What do you think is the process to feeling safe when you're jumping? Because you had a video about jumping timelines to do the different things so the new thing can come in.
You have to realize that there's nothing to fear because you are everything. What are you afraid of if whatever happens in your reality, you created it for yourself? Through your life, you left fractals of you in certain experiences, and whatever is happening right here is a map of your own consciousness for you to take back that part of you that was in fear, that was in doubt. You know why? Because
Spiritual fitness, spiritual fitness. I'm your host, Eric Bigger, and we're back again with another episode. And today we're going to go into the consciousness, super consciousness, God consciousness, frequency, downloads, alchemy, higher intelligence, divine union. But I have the privilege to have transformational coach, spiritual mentor, mindset coach, Ariana Del Rosiaro. Hope I said it right. She's all the way from Brazil, and she's incredible. I came across her content on TikTok and Instagram. And when I tell you this woman really goes deep into the unconscious, paradigm of the body, of the mind, and teaches life, higher consciousness, self-sabotage, the success, love, and everything that we love to talk about on spiritual fitness. So I'm happy to have her. Ariana, welcome to Spiritual Fitness. How are you?
thank you. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. So let's get into it. So which is for me, right? When I think of your content, it's kind of like, how do I say it? You know how people go to Chat GPT and put in questions? I feel like you're like the AI of the human mind, right? And you're giving people like the answers. It's kind of like you have the channel that's coming through you. God is using your channel, then you're like putting out the answers for the universe for people. How did you get started into spirituality? And what is your definition of spirituality?
Hmm. How I got started is a long, very esoteric story. If you want to hear it,
Yeah,
I think it's beautiful.
absolutely.
So I've always been kind of spiritual because it was my tendency to be interested in metaphysics and stuff like that. But I was not even connected to God. Well, you cannot be not connected to God, right? But I was not consciously, I would never say God, or I would not really have a faith. And until a series of stuff happened in my life, and at some point I was at rock bottom. And like I was going through a breakup. I was living with my boyfriend and I needed to move out of his place, and I didn't have a job that with which I could afford rent. I was a yoga teacher. I did go to school. I did have corporate jobs before, but at that point of my life, I was kind of in a limbo. And I was heartbroken at my worst, and I needed to move out, and I didn't know what to do. And at that point, I also had I was going through like a crisis in with my purpose. Like, what is my purpose? I am intellectual. I love reading. I love learning. And I had spent more than a decade studying. I studied a lot of Freud. That's why I dive so deep into the mind and the unconscious. My background is Freudian. I studied psychoanalysis in Argentina.
Okay.
That's where I'm from, actually, from Argentina. And then I studied psychology in in the University of Colorado. So I do have a background in psychology, and I knew I loved studying, I loved learning, but I had never found that thing that I wanted to do. I studied nutrition, and I realized I didn't want to be a nutritionist because I was like, there's more to it. I had clients because I graduated, and I had clients, and they I would talk to them about what they had to eat, but I realized that it came from the mind, not from not knowing what to eat necessarily. So at some point, I realized that I was really blocked. And the reason, when people ask me, Eddie, why do you think you're blocked? Like, why do you think that you don't know what you want to do? I was tired of having 9 to 5s. And I said, I think it's because I don't feel seen. I never felt seen by my parents. Like, I never felt seen by my family or taken seriously. So I felt like that was putting like a huge block in my believing in myself to do something. So one day, when my boyfriend and I broke up, I was at rock bottom. I was literally sleeping on a yoga mat on the floor in a second room in his house. I had no idea what I was going to do. And my dad called me crying. At that point, I had started meditating. I had just started meditating, and I had started learning about the law of attraction and visualization and the power of the mind. It had been a few months that I was meditating every day. So that day, at rock bottom. The only thing I'm doing daily is meditating. And my dad called me crying, and he's an Uber driver in Argentina. And he told me, "Hey, Ari, I just want you to know that whatever you do, I will support you." And I'm like, this is so out of character. Where is it coming from? I had never seen my dad crying. And I'm like, what happened? Like, why? And he said that there was a passenger that got in his car. And this passenger, as soon as she got in the car, she told him, "Listen, you have a daughter, right?" And he said, "Yes, I have two." And she said, "No, I'm talking about the one that lives abroad." So at that point, my dad turns off the radio. He's like, "What are you talking about? How do you know that?" And the woman would not respond to his questions. She would just say, "Listen to me," and she said, "Listen, she was very brave to leave the country alone when she was so young, but she is an artist and she needs to start creating, and she can't because she needs to hear that you support her." And this is in a regular overdrive, kind of right?
No, I could cry because it's like, go ahead. I'm sorry. Wow.
There's even more to it. She's like, she's told him, "Call her now and tell her that you support her." At that point, I was starting to think, I think I want to become a creator, a YouTuber. But of course, when you start thinking about it, it sounds like so impossible. And she's like, call her now." And my dad said, "Okay, I will call her." And the woman said, "No, no, no, no. Call her now. Stop the car and call her now." Right? So, well, my dad ended the ride and he called me and he told me that. And when I looked at I asked my dad, "Dad, show me the information of the car ride," right? And it turns out that the trip was at the time of my birth, the exact time of my birth. The ride was from the street Rosario, which is my last name,
Sorry. Yeah.
to the street Salvadores, which in Spanish means saviors.
Mm.
And my dad called me and told me that. And I told him, "Well, I was thinking of starting a TikTok." And ever since then, my dad every day started calling me, "Did you start your TikTok?" Kathy was the name of this passenger.
Yeah.
She's famous in my family now because Kathy said that you're an artist. Kathy said you're an artist. Did you start your TikTok? And that's when about a month later, I started my TikTok and I started posting. And within a month, I went viral and I started creating content. And that's when I started getting deeper and deeper into spirituality. That time of my rock bottom was when I was holding on to spirituality. You must know this. When you are at
Oh
rock
yeah.
bottom,
Oh yeah.
that's all you have, spirituality.
The reason I almost teared up is because your dad, which is the masculine, had to pour into you, his daughter, the feminine, right? To amplify her gifts. And this is what I've learned in my life with my woman and how I'm walking into the embodiment of being that in my frequency, right? For women, because a lot of my clients are women, showing them that we can co-create as different genders and create success, and it doesn't always have to be romantic, right? And I think there's a somewhat of a divide in the world where there's this clash, this vibration clash with the feminine and the masculine, where it doesn't have to be. If we could just understand, because guess what? Without women, there's none of us. Women are the universe. So I just want to take you to her story. The story is really great. I can't wait till you write the book. There was a woman. People, listen. If you listen to her story, there was a woman, Cartier or Cartier, whatever her name is, a woman, right? Her feminine poured into the masculine. Ariana's father, his masculinity poured into his daughter, right? Her feminine. Boom, here comes creation. That's the power of women. Fellas, this is the power of women. But there's been this thing in the consciousness because of what we're programmed in that we don't think we can support one another. So I say all that to say there's a powerful story. I like got like visions of like it's a movie, right? About the birth time. When you think of co-creation for the masculine and feminine energetics, what is that? And how do we as people understand how to co-create together to create heaven on earth, like we do with having kids, bringing kids into the world? How do you see that from your paradigm?
I think that everything that you just said, you brought a new perspective into my life that just blew my mind. What you just
Yeah.
said about my dad being the masculine, and this is the topic that I am working right now in my life. So nothing is casual, of course, right? Like I'm practicing precisely this, my feminine, right? Like integrating my feminine energy because I've always been in my masculine, like
Right.
chasing and working and taking action, having to defend myself, like thinking I have to defend
Yeah.
myself, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that the way in which we create is by observing our imbalances and learning how to receive or learning how to give, because it's different for everyone. Some people need to learn how to take action and speak up and like make decisions and be assertive, and some of us need to learn to let go and let God. The other day I was having an issue with my electricity and the electricity company, and I was like at the company like fighting,
Yeah.
and then I realized, wait, this is not my battle, this is God's. He's gonna fight for me. I can just stay in my feminine and I can just relax and let him handle it, right? So what I think is that by the way in which we co-create within us, right? Not with the universe, because, but within us is like between us, I mean, is by learning how to receive, if that's what we need, or learning how to take action if that's what we need. Because, sometimes you're on Instagram, for example, and you see a reel that says, you need to learn how to receive, or the opposite, you need to learn to take action. You need to understand that nothing is generic, right?
Yeah.
We all came here to learn different aspects of ourselves. We all came to this earth to play this character for a reason, and you went through your life experience for a reason. So there's something specific that you need to integrate, and it may not be the same that I have to integrate, right?
Yeah.
So the way we co-create is by, again, looking inward and seeing, how do I balance?
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful because it's a lot in that because when people speak, I get all these visions that come up, right? I'm sensing. I was like, God, that's tight. Your mind comes before reality, so you got to work on this, right? And then you said something about your soul, follow the soul. So I've always been the one to jump. I'm gone. I'm not even thinking about fear, my body. So I'm jumping timelines. And when I'm on a timeline, I don't feel safe, right? Because I feel like maybe not that I rushed it, I don't know how to ground my body into the new timeline. So say for instance, I knew I had to go to Peru and do plant medicine. I'm afraid of heights. I've never sat with plant medicine, but I was so broken, right? In my awakening, I left. I met a person off of social media who did my podcast who was a shaman. I didn't even know she hosted retreats, but I followed my soul. And when I followed my soul, I did all this uncomfortable. And outside of that, I fell in love. You get what I mean? But I followed my soul, Ariana. Like I followed my soul. So I want to know from your perspective, when you have people like yourself, myself, or people out there that know that soul, your soul knows, how can we get to a space where we feel safe in our bodies, like Earth? Because I know that the divinity, I'm connected, but I wanna integrate. I want to be here and I want to be safe. What do you think is the process to feeling safe when you're jumping? Because you had a video about jumping timelines to do the different things so the new thing can come in. What is your perspective on that?
Well, there's a few things. On one side, there's what I can talk about in like in the sense of like theory, and then in
Yeah,
the practice. When it comes to practice, it's following this theory, right? But also meditation, prayer, etc. But let's talk about the deep stuff. What I believe is that you have to realize that there's nothing to fear because you are everything. You are everything. You are consciousness creating this virtual experience for yourself. I want you to imagine that you're wearing a headset in which your state of being is at every single second creating
Yeah.
the reality, the landscape that you're experiencing in the situations. So what are you afraid of? If whatever happens in your reality, you created, you as the creator of
Right.
your own life experience, you created it for yourself. Whatever experience happens out there is something that you, as the universe, as consciousness, as the divine, created to integrate an aspect of yourself. Because think about it, you are a soul that came here to expand.
Right.
Expand means come a return to love, right? Returning to that unconditional love.
Yeah.
So every experience that I create in my reality is from me to me. It's like a little love letter from me
Yeah.
to understand something, to integrate something. Sometimes it will require that I go to my inner child and I teach them that their interpretation of their trauma was never about themselves and was never true, and to reinterpret their trauma. Sometimes it will take going back and forgiving your parents, realize they never meant to hurt you. It doesn't matter. It's just I want you to imagine that through your life you left fractals of you in certain experiences, and whatever is happening right here is a map of your own consciousness for you to interact, like in a play, in a cosmic dance, play with that situation to like take back that part of you that was in fear, that was in doubt, that was, you know why? Because truth is unconditional love. That's the only truth. That's what God is.
Right.
Unconditional love. And God is all there is, in the sense that unconditional love is at the core of everything, of you, of me, and your biggest enemy, or whoever you think is doing the things, most awful things in the world. At their core, there's unconditional love. There's the divine, right? So if the only thing that exists is love, fear is not true. It's an illusion. It's a call for love. So whenever I am experiencing fear, the way in which I take the mask of the fear, like something that scares me presents to me, right? I see it as fear. The way I remove the mask is by looking at how is this situation a call for love.
Right.
So how am I creating? Your mind creates your reality, right? So if I'm creating, let's say, debt, okay, how am I in debt with myself?
Yeah.
So instead of looking at the debt and being scared because there's debt and feeling fear, what I do is I use it as the map that it is. I always say reality is feedback. It's showing you back at you so that you can go back to that unconditional love. That's why in the Bible it says, you will know the truth and it will set you free.
Yeah.
Free of what? Of that fear, of that illusion of scarcity, of that illusion of debt.
Yeah. 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 What do you think, like at this point in your life, with all your understanding, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences, what is it your greatest reward for all this work you've done, and what is your greatest desire for the universe?
My greatest reward is connection, is, fulfillment, purpose,
Yeah.
I would say.
Got it.
In the sense of being able to let the divine work through me, to feel that connection of, I know that I am doing what I came here to do.
Yeah.
I no longer feel in misalignment.
Got it.
This that I do feels natural. It doesn't feel like my job. Thank God.
Yes.
Literally, it is my job. But actually, it's me. And that is authenticity. This aspect of, I am just being me, you see? And the more I allow myself to keep exploring within myself, the universe is within me, right? And what do I mean by this? the more I allow myself to every day remove layers of conditioning, because most of us are living from a character that we created. And this is very unconscious. I'm not saying we are consciously inauthentic, right? I used to be living in this character of, moved by fear, moved by this constant sense of I have to fight for injustice. I have to fight everything I get in my life. I have to fight for it. And if this or all of my limiting beliefs, the lies I used to tell myself, like people are not gonna like me. My friends used to tell me, you should definitely, like before I created content, they used to tell me you should be a content creator. And I would tell myself, who would want to listen to me? Nobody cares about what I have to say. So I was living from that character, the version of me. And I want to say this, I want you, if you're listening to this, I want you to pay attention to this. This is important because this may be you. This, when you are in a position where you're like, why me? Who do I think I am to be seen? Who's gonna want to watch my YouTube videos? Who's gonna want to read my book? Who's gonna want to listen to my music, right? Like, if you are there in that place of not believing to yourself, you need to understand that that is not you. That is not your soul speaking. That is your conditioning, because probably at some point, because of your environment, you learned that you are not to be seen, or that being seen is not safe, right? So we are most of the time we live from this character that we think it's me, but it's not me. It's just the walls that I built to keep myself safe. It's the walls that my nervous system built, right? So when I talk about exploring myself, I talk about the more I keep going, looking at my reality as this map, as feedback, and looking at the situations that are happening around me, not as something that is happening to me, but as something that is happening for me, to look inward and realize, oh, I was acting from this pattern. Oh, I was acting from this fear. Oh, me not wanting to start a YouTube channel was because I was scared that nobody wanted to see me, but not because I don't want to do it, because my soul is dying to create a YouTube channel and let the divine express itself through me, right? But my human is limited by feeling small. So the more you start removing those limitations, those blocks that keep you from yourself, you allow your most authentic expression to be born. And that's why, if you are at rock bottom, I want you to realize that this moment is full of potential. And the reason why rock bottom feels so bad is because it's you giving birth to your new self, and birth is painful.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so when you start removing those layers, you get your fullest expression to come out. And that is the most rewarding thing that will happen to you ever. Because I could tell you that the most rewarding thing of this aspect has been connecting deeper to God,
Ooh,
because that's
there we go.
true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes, absolutely, because God is everything.
yeah,
But in that, I also recognize that God is within me.
yeah.
And getting to know me, not my ego self, my truth is getting to know God. And that is the most rewarding thing that ever happened to me, and that I desire for everyone. Because if we were all living from our authenticity, because our authentic essence is unconditional love, all violence, all hatred, everything would just disappear, because that would be the collective return to love.
Yeah, that is beautiful, beautifully put. How can we, as we're all spiritual beings, but people who has live in a high frequency spiritual that's connected to God, the one that the divine, I call it God abundance, right? How do we bring that abundance into that God frequency that we are, to make good money and to thrive in life and not be just all this higher knowledge, but yet I don't have the compensation, I don't have the money, I don't have the means. Because I do feel like there's a part of that where it's like people are disconnected, or maybe they're not really connected. If that makes sense.
That's such a good question. Yes,
Yeah.
because I see it a lot. Listen, there's a few things. First, I want to say that it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Because the reason why you are not perceiving that abundance that is actually your truth, meaning your inheritance because the kingdom is your inheritance, right? If you want it. If you don't want it, if you don't care about it, you're still abundant because you're abundant because
Yeah.
you have everything you want. But if you are like feeling like, hey, I love what I do, but I am not seeing a dollar and I am broke and I want to be comfortable and I want to allow that abundance in, then first thing to realize is that that abundance is literally you. You are it. If you are not perceiving it in your material reality, is because there's an aspect of you that's blocking it. And that's why I'm saying that it is different for everyone. What's blocking it for this person A is different than what's blocking it for person B. But to go to what you were talking about earlier about the feminine and the masculine, something really sad that I've witnessed lately, like very recently with a friend of mine, is this is a person who is pretty talented. She wants to do the same thing that you and I do.
Yeah.
And she's been doing it for years now. She has had a YouTube channel for years and stuff, and still she has like one client for years, one client. She cannot grow. Her audience doesn't grow, and she's really good.
Yeah.
And this is a person. She's a woman, but she's not in her feminine at all. She doesn't know how to receive. She's someone that she's always doing. What I can see in her is a wound of thinking she has to earn love. And if I am not doing, I am not loved. Like my being loved depends on me helping you wash the dishes and helping you do stuff. So this person in her romantic relationship, she has been dating someone for 8 years. And for these 8 years, she's been the person who makes more money, who works more, who cooks, who cleans, who washes the dishes, who does everything. She's like her boyfriend's mother, right? So when she came to me, and this is a friend, not a client, but when she came to me to tell me, Ari, why do I not get clients? I said, because if you don't see your worth, how do you expect people, potential clients, and potential audiences to see it? You don't get what you think you deserve. You get what you embody. Life is displaying you back at you. So if I think that I don't deserve, right? If I cannot be in my feminine, allowing myself to receive, allowing myself to rest, allowing my boyfriend to be in his masculine, right? And provide for me and protect me. And if I cannot, then that imbalance will be shown outside of me. So that, if you look at it, that's not even a limiting belief, a money block. That is an energetic block, a self-love and self-worth block. So it depends for everyone. So the generic advice that I would give is, if you're not seeing money, look at your reality, because everything, and if you're listening to this, take this with you. Everything that is happening right now in your life holds the key to that situation that you don't know how to get out of. Because what's going on right now, what life is presenting you right now, that holds the key. And probably right now, life is presenting you with a situation that you're like, oh, I can't wait for this situation to be over so that I can solve that thing, like my money problem, whatever. No, this situation is showing you the pattern that's keeping you blocked, or the attitude, or the limiting belief, or the emotional wound that's keeping you blocked. Your reality is always showing you. It's always, it's a perfect, it's mathematically perfect. It's just like, perfect like sacred geometry. It's almost like that. It's just perfectly showing you that thing that is blocking you. And it is so obvious that you're not even seeing it. So if you feel blocked, look at your reality. Take a step back and look at your reality, asking yourself the following question. What is this happening to me for? What am I supposed to learn from this? What is the lesson in this situation?
Right.
And that's when you're going to realize that the answer is within you, that the answer is in the situation that you're living right now. Sometimes we think that the solution to our problem is outside of us. Like this morning, I was talking with my sister. She has a coffee shop in Buenos Aires, and she was telling me that she's worried about money. She's like, I really hope that today we get a lot of clients because I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this and that. And I told her, wait a second.
Right.
What do you mean? I really hope that a lot of clients come in today. Your reality never depends on something outside of you. I hope that clients come in. The problem is not whether clients come in or not. You are creating the reality of them coming in or not. So instead of hoping that something outside of you happens,
Yeah.
realize that you are the creator. What in me is blocking that?
Yeah.
What do I need to start doing? Oh, it happens that my sister is someone who's in her masculine completely. So I
Wow.
tell her, if you don't learn how to receive, you're not, that abundance cannot come. You need to be able to receive. Otherwise, energetically, the clients are not going to come in.
So
Mhm.
for you, with your sister, your friend, or whoever, how do we break that paradigm? How do we break that structure within our energetics to say, I don't want to just overgive or give all the time and not learn how to receive with safety or receive with because what I've done is I try to control how I receive. That's how bad it's been. I want to control how someone gives to me. Right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
wild, but I know there's a way to just how I naturally give, I can naturally receive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful question. Okay, there's a few things. First, you have to get yourself out of the way and realize that giving and receiving is the natural flow of life. When you don't want to receive, you are blocking someone else from the gift of giving. And that, there's no humility to that because giving is beautiful. So you should let others give,
Yeah.
first of all. But the second, okay, but that's intellectualizing
Right,
it, right?
right,
Like,
right, right,
Irving, how
right.
do I do it though? Because my nervous system keeps blocking it,
Right,
keeps
right, right.
thinking that
Yeah.
there's a bear about to eat me when I receive. When someone gives me a gift, I feel shame, I feel anxiety. That's how I used to be. Someone gives me, I used to feel so much anxiety and guilt if someone gave me a birthday present.
Yeah.
And it's like, girl, it's your birthday. Let them give you a present. But it's like, I feel so bad about myself. Okay, the way in which you change that is, first of all, now you're aware of the pattern. So you can change the behavior. And this applies to anything in your life. If you are aware of your pattern and you don't change your behavior, now that's on you, okay? Because before it was unconscious, but now it's conscious. So first of all, change behavior. How you practice. Practice with the small things. Someone gives you a compliment and you say, thank you. I'll take it. Smile. Thank you. Instead of, hey, Addie, your hair looks good today. What, this? Oh my God, no, I look like a mess, right? Rejecting the compliment. Okay. So you're with a friend and having dinner. They say, I got the bill. And you say, thank you. Instead of, no, there's no way I'll get it, right? You allow and you say, thank you. And that's when your mind will start thinking, okay, I'll get the next one. I'll tell them to go get dessert so that I can pay for the dessert, right? And that's when you that's when you go into the body and you take a deep breath, longer exhale, because we want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. We want to activate the part of the system in my body that tells me, hey, we are safe. Because you know why? Receiving feels unsafe because it's unfamiliar, right? Or because of trauma. But so what I need to do is teach to my body because intellectually, I need to learn how to receive. I need to teach my body that we are safe. So in a moment when I am receiving or in a moment when I need to ask for help or ask for something at all, right? I take a few deep breaths and I tell myself, this is safe. this new reality is safe. And this applies to anything, not just to, okay, how do I learn how to receive, but also let's say that you are manifesting a new level in your reality, right? Like for me, next month, I'm going to LA to speak
Yeah.
at Kathy's event.
Let's
And
go.
to me, that's a whole new reality, new level. And what's her name? Kathy.
Right.
The same name as the woman in the Uber.
Mhm.
So this woman calls me for her event, and I'm like, what? Like, these immediately, I start telling myself a million stories of like, no, you're not going to end up going, whatever. And that's when I have to sit with my body and say, breathe, and teach my body, hey, this new reality is safe for you. This new level is safe for you. Let's say you're trying to manifest a relationship with a man who is not avoidant, and your pattern is to date avoidant men. And you're like, I want a man who sees me. Okay. And sit with that man who sees you in your imagination, in your mind. How does it feel for a man to see you? And how can you teach your body? It is safe. It is safe to be seen. It is safe to receive. The way in which you teach your body to stop rejecting that reality, because I want you to realize there's 3 levels to manifestation. There's the perceptual level of, do I even believe that reality is possible?
Right.
There's the identity level of, is that reality possible for me? Am I the type of person who can live that reality? And then there's the nervous system level, which is, that is my nervous system blocking it. Okay,
Right. There we go.
each,
Now we talk.
to teach the nervous system, that's when you sit and you say, let's say you let your friend pay for dinner, or you let someone else something that normally you would have done yourself. You sit and you say, you teach your body, this is safe. And after you start doing it, after a few weeks or months, you're going to be like, wow, I'm a new person.
Yeah.
That no longer
Yeah.
feels unfamiliar.
Yeah. But this is the thing, like, honestly, Ariana, this is what I feel is about to it was happening in the world. We're in this space, people are overstimulated in the 3D. The material thing is like burnt out. Like everybody's on trips, everybody got money, but people are not feeling life no more. They're not feeling inside. They're not feeling their humanity, their human self. Or there's a part where everyone's healing, but no one's living. So I feel like what you're doing, what you're bringing to the world, and what you're who you are, what I'm bringing to the world, who I am, and the people like us, we're creating a new reality for conscious beings to be spiritual, but also to be alive inside, to be rich, to be successful, to be healthy, to be wealthy, and make God cool. I make God cool, right? You know, they say truth consciousness, Christ consciousness. That's what I believe is back, and that's moving through all of us. And I also notice that there's different pathways to get to God now, not just church, not just a temple. It could be YouTube, it could be fitness, it could be music, it could be. I saw someone's doing prayer and Pilates, right? In spiritual fitness, I do breathwork affirmations, and then we pray at the end. So
Yeah.
I'm bringing God consciousness into this. So right now in your life, what do you have that us as viewers, the audience, even myself, that we can be a part of or join in on your experiments of what you're creating so we can get more of Ariana in her universe so we can kind of tap into what you are moving into? You got any like courses? Any, I mean, you coming to LA, you got an event. What are you working on right now that we can benefit from?
Yes. So right now I have an online academy. It's an international academy, which is a dream come true.
Yeah.
It's online. I have students from all over the world, literally. India, Canada, Spain, France, US, literally everywhere, Argentina. And it's an online course where I teach in depth everything that I just spoke about and more, obviously. And it's beautiful because a lot of people are there to rewire their mind and change their limiting beliefs and manifest. And a lot of people are there coming from religious trauma. Coming
Mm.
from religious trauma, they are like, I want to get closer to God. And I have testimonies of people who were like, they couldn't even say the word God. They would get triggered with the word God. And now they are like, Ari, I prayed today and God responded and this and that, right? Because we are doing the work of teaching God, and well, teaching, I don't want to say teaching, but like bringing God into the conversation
I
from a different place. And I think that's why God is blessing us with these extraordinary lives, because because it's needed and God is using us. We're instruments to remind people of their own power and that God is within them, right? So I have this school in that it's called Awakening Academy. It's online and we meet every other Saturday live where I teach a class and then I do coaching. So my students get to ask me questions. We have a WhatsApp community where we support each other every day. I bought so many courses for manifestation and this and that, but this is not a course. This is like something, it's intended to be with you long term. It's something to be intended to become a part of your life, the support, the access to your mentor, right? I would not be here if I had not had mentors. So that's what I have. And then I also have one-on-one coaching that's a more like private type of mentorship. And obviously my YouTube channel, which I always tell people, if you cannot afford a mentor now, which I absolutely recommend that you don't lie to yourself. If you are going out and spending your money on drinks, on pizza, whatever it is, organize your priorities, because when you start investing in your mind grows your pockets. And
I love that.
but if you cannot right now invest in a mentor, then go and watch my YouTube channel, because with that information alone, if you apply it, or if you follow me on Instagram and listen to my lives that I do every week for free for everybody, with that, you will get to a place where you can afford the mentor of your preference if you apply.
You apply it. Yeah, that is so there's two things. That's really good, how you broke that. I love the group. I feel like it's so much fun over there. Whatever that WhatsApp Law of Assumption group, it feels like fun, whatever the group is. So people get into her group, get into her energy, get into her space. Um, I wanna, because this is the second time this has come up in this interview, and I feel like, or I'm aware that your soul has the answer. Before we leave, there's two things. We have rapid fire, and then I'm gonna ask you, what does spiritual fitness mean to you? So, rapid fire, I'm gonna say 4 words, and you just gonna, like, whatever comes, say. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Spirituality.
God.
Fitness.
God.
Wow. Consciousness.
Expansion.
Love.
Oof. Community.
Okay. So it is, so it is.
That was hard.
Yeah, I know, I felt it. I felt it, it's alright. And what is your definition of spiritual fitness?
Ooh. What is my definition of spiritual fitness? I think you did a lovely, lovely wordplay there, because I think fitness has a spiritual side, right? Like you are caring for the temple of God. I always think like I want to respect God through respecting my body,
Yeah.
but also um, spiritual fitness. I think you know, in order to be fit, you have to work on it daily and you have to have a holistic approach. There's no fitness without a holistic approach. Like I cannot go to the gym every day, but then eat whatever I want and be fit, right? Like be healthy. Fit in the sense of also healthy, right? Well, the same happens with spirituality. You have to look at it holistically. You have to care for it daily, and you have to care for it like a muscle that you work at the gym.
Yeah.
If you go and pray one day and then you say, well, I prayed and God didn't answer, then there's no fitness there, right? Like there's no that discipline, that obedience, that discipline that is key with God, right? Like I cannot expect God, the universe, to co-create with me when I am taking in my life the complete opposite steps to what I'm asking for. It's like I want God to give me abundance, but I make decisions of someone who doesn't see her words, because then I'm not co-creating, because God can only say yes because he gave me free will. He gave me free will. So God can only say yes to what I embody. That's why the universe always says yes to you, right? So to me, spiritual fitness is being aware of that work and discipline and obedience that you have to put on every day
Yeah.
to allow your soul to connect, to allow yourself to feel that connection with the divine. That's why, for example, something I forget about saying when you ask me about the spaces that I provide a free live yoga class for everyone for free on YouTube every month.
Yeah.
And what's yoga? Yoga means to yoke, which means union with God, right? So that's spiritual fitness for
Right.
me.
Pretty good.
To remove everything that's not, do the work every day to remove everything that is not me, so that I can be aware and feel that connection with spirit that leads me, that guides me, that gives me life. Okay. Before that, I want to say that I'm gonna put the seed out there in the universe. Maybe one day we can do an in-person event combining spiritual fitness
No,
with my
we will.
yoga.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna talk once we get off because it's coming per. You're gonna talk.
You can find me on Instagram as Cosmic Ari, ARI _ Cosmic Ari. Ari as in Ariana, my name. You can find me on YouTube as Cosmic Ari and on TikTok as Cosmic Ari. And you can find my podcast on all streaming platforms. It's called It's Magic with Cosmic Ari.
Got it. I love that. Listen, follow her. She's amazing. She knows what she's talking about, and she's spiritually fit. We're spiritually fit together. And this podcast was amazing. Subscribe, download this episode, and follow her on all channels. Until next time, you guys be great.